Hey guys, I'm Evan. Welcome to Country View Solar. So today we're starting a new series of videos where I'm going to redo the solar power room. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to tear out the old EP Cube system. I've been running it for a couple of years now, and I want to upgrade to something with more power where I can expand and have a bigger battery bank, and something that's a little bit more programmable, something where you can really get in there and change the settings, tweak it the way you want to. This is more of a system that you kind of set 2 or 3 different settings, leave it and forget it, and it just runs. So I'm just going to take it out and have something a little that I can tinker with a little bit more, plus have some more power. So to replace this, I'm going to be using the 12,000 XP from EG4. So hopefully we can get this torn out and get the 12,000 XP installed today. That's going to be the first video. We're also going to redo our solar junction box down here. We're going to redo that, and I'll show the lightning protection for that in that video. And then we're going to expand the battery bank a little bit bigger. And then after that, we may end up adding a second 12,000 XP. We'll just have to wait and see how this all runs the house. So the first thing I need to do is I need to turn off all the power so I can safely disconnect everything and get this all torn out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first switch my transfer switch. So right now we are on our backup power source right here. And when I flip this, my house will be powered directly from the grid. So here we go. So now I'm going to go ahead and power down the EP Cube system. And then right here is my incoming grid power to the EP Cube. This is a 100 amp breaker. Go ahead and turn it off. All right, we'll check for voltage. 0 volts across them on the incoming line, 0 volts on the outgoing. Nothing to ground, nothing to neutral. So the next power source is the batteries, and we got a battery fuse right here, and we'll just go ahead and remove that fuse. So on the EP Cube, each one of these is a battery. So there's a total of 6 batteries stacked on top of each other, and then the power connection is over here in the corner. So we should be able to just come in here and wiggle this connector up and get it on. And there we go. We are unplugged from the batteries. So the next power source would be the solar panels. And the EP Cube can take up to 4 solar panel arrays. And I have all 4 of those solar panel arrays pre-wired down to some terminal blocks in this junction box. But I actually don't have any of my solar arrays hooked to it. They're all hooked to the other systems right now. But I am going to remove this wiring trough, and all the solar panel wiring goes down into this junction box and then comes back out. So I need to go ahead and turn off all the solar panels so that I can make these changes. Now, since my solar panels are on the roof, they have a rapid shutdown module, and that only allows the solar panels to be on when it senses a signal from the inverter. So the easy way to do is just break that signal. So I could just turn the disconnect. That will kill the signal, and then the solar panels will shut off. So that disconnect was for 2 solar panel arrays, and then I've got 3 here on the 12K PV, so now they're all turned off. All right, all the solar panels are dead. They're all sitting about 2-3 volts, which is normal for a shutdown module. So we verified that all the power is gone. It's safe to work on now. Should be able to start tearing this out. Now, one thing I failed to mention is that even though there was no solar panels connected to this, it was being used as a battery backup system. So it was sitting there waiting for a power outage, and when one happened, it would power my house. After the outage was over, it would charge the batteries back up. So a few days ago, this was 100% charged. But you don't want to store batteries fully charged. So you want to store them between 30 and 50%, somewhere in there for long-term storage. So I changed it into self-consumption mode, powered the house with this for about a day, got the batteries down to 35%. So the batteries are in the perfect state for us to be able to store them. So what we got left here at the gateway is we have our grid power coming in, and then we have our output going out. We have a generator connection over here, and then we also have the other side of the communication cable. And then right here we have our e-stop for our emergency shutdown. So I think I can go ahead and start disassembling this. This is the heaviest part. It's about 80 pounds. And for some reason, this one doesn't have handles. The batteries do. Oh. Gotta have like a small ladder for this one. So before I tear out this solar junction box, I'm just making sure I got labels on all the wiring. Oh, I took off some of the paint. So, yeah. All right, we got a blank slate now to install the 12,000 XP. All the stuff over here on this wall, this is all gonna stay the same. So I've got this all set up. So this is my critical loads panel, and this is the one that powers a few things in the shop, but it also powers the house. And I've got it set up where I can power it 3 different ways, and I wanna keep it that way. So I can have it on the grid with this lever up. I can throw the lever down and it'll be on the solar power system, the 12,000 XP once we get it installed. Or I've got an interlock in the panel and I can switch that interlock and I can power it from a generator if I need to. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna draw all this out like a 1-line diagram, and I'll show you how it's all wired up. And then we'll come back in here and I'll show you some of the finer details. So I just threw this drawing together. I'm not the best artist in the world. I know it's going to be a little hard to follow. But right here, this represents my main breaker panel. Coming in from the grid, comes in, and inside this breaker panel, I have a 100 amp breaker. And that 100 amp breaker feeds power over to the solar power room that we were just in. And that power, once it gets into the wiring trough, it actually splits. And it goes 2 places. It goes to feed the 100 amp breaker that feeds what used to feed the EP cube and will now feed the 12,000 XP, but then the other side it goes over and it also feeds one side of the transfer switch. And what that allows me to do is that allows me to either have power flow through the 12,000 XP, or I can throw the transfer switch and I can bypass it and I can go around the 12,000 XP and power directly from the grid. And to split that power, I'm just using Polaris connectors. It's a multi-tap connector. You could also use power distribution blocks. And I can do that because it is all protected by this 100 amp breaker in the main panel. As long as all my wiring is rated for 100 amps, I can split it that way. Now this dotted line right here, this is representing the solar power room. And on the outside of the solar power room, there is a generator inlet. And it's a 50 amp inlet. And it comes in and it also splits using multi-taps or Polaris connector. And it goes two places. So 50 amps from the generator can come in and go to the inverter if the inverter has a generator input. And then it also comes across and it feeds a 50 amp breaker in my critical loads panel. And then that's interlocked. So then that allows me to switch between the 100 amps from the transfer switch to the 50 amps of the generator. So that gives me two power sources on the transfer switch, one power source on the interlock. So I've got a lot of flexibility built into the way I've got this wired. Three different ways to power it, but the generator inlet, you can plug in several different things. I've got a tractor generator, I've got a gas generator, I've got power stations. So there's multiple different ways I can power things up if we had a really bad grid down situation. Of course, that'll probably never happen, but I've got the flexibility if I need it. So now we're back in the solar power room, and if we look in the wiring trough, you can see right there, there's the multi-taps. That is the grid power coming in. So this is, I'm just using a 3-tap. You can buy these in 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, these can come in multiple different variations. But I've got a neutral, I've got an L2, and then I have my L1. So I've got power coming in the middle. One side goes to the transfer switch. One side goes over to the breaker for the inverter. Now as far as the ground is concerned, I have mounted a ground bus bar on the back of the wiring trough, so all of my ground wires land here. So I had to pull this out of the trough so you can see it, but here's my generator wiring. It comes in and splits also. There's my neutral, and then here is my L1, and then here is my L2. And of course the ground from the generator lands on the same ground bar. Now, if you're going to install a solar power system, you don't necessarily need all this infrastructure. You may want to consider whether you want to or not. The transfer switch, it's really handy to be able to just bypass the system and make major changes like what we're doing here today, or replace a broken inverter. It just allows you to continue to have power and make any of those major changes. Not necessary, of course. You can just go without power for a few hours as you change something. Now this critical loads panel, it's like a power distribution panel right off of the inverter. I do like this because my backup power source comes in here. Now I've got 24 circuits in here for me to just go ahead and take that wherever I want. So I've got 100 amps going over to the house. It also allows me to have the interlock with a generator, and I can power with a generator and not have to use the inverter for the generator. So it just allows me to directly power with a generator. But yeah, it gives me a lot of flexibility on distributing power out to different places. And this right here, this is a 100 amp breaker for the inverter, power going to the inverter. And the reason I have this here is if I didn't have it, I would have to kill power all the way at my main panel. And when I killed power at my main panel, it would also kill the bottom side of my transfer switch, and this bypass wouldn't work, you know. So that's one reason, but I think you really want a disconnecting means so that you can work safely on an inverter. You want it to be nearby. You want it to be readily accessible. So I've got it right here, and if I ever need to do anything, I can just turn it off. I don't have to go find the breaker and go travel somewhere to turn it off. One other thing I have here is I have a PV disconnect mounted right here to the top of the wiring trough, and this has got 2 of my solar arrays on it. And I do like having this because the solar panel wiring comes in, it hits this first, and I know when I turn this off, I am completely disconnected. I am not relying on the rapid shutdown modules to keep the voltage down and to keep me safe. I have a true disconnect here. And the original reason I put this in here is because the inverter was over at my house, and I didn't want to have to go walk into the basement of my house every time I needed to turn off the solar, so I could do it right here in this room. Now my other 3 solar arrays, they are wired up to the 12K PV. It's just in the next room, and it has its own built-in disconnect. So I can just walk over there and shut it off. But if you buy an inverter that doesn't have a PV disconnect, this is something you're definitely going to want to look at buying. Now, as far as all the changes I'm making to this room, I don't think I'm going to change any of this. It's all going to pretty much stay the same. I just need to install the new inverter and new batteries in here and just get everything all wired up. And considering I've already got the infrastructure, I think this part's going to go fairly quickly. But anytime you install something, there's always a little bit of hiccups. So I'll probably save that for the next video. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.